Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back for episode 9 of Feed the Beast Infinity for Minecraft 1.10. Last episode we were working on a couple of things. We started by putting down these two logistical sorters for Mechanism to automatically pull out all of the items from this Enderlink chest, and then if they are ores, send them over to this chest to then be processed and turned into ingots, and if they're not ores, send them over to this chest, which I have upgraded since the end of last episode. It was just a normal sorting chest, not a sorting iron chest, because the normal sorting chest, for whatever reason, wasn't connecting to the mechanism pipes here. But now that it does, all the items are sent to here and then organized into whichever chest they fit into out of these adjacent 5. And we also made ourselves the angel ring from extra utilities. We set up all of the lava generators that we put in the nether to produce the 32 grid power required to make this thing work. And so now we have the ability of creative mode flight, which is pretty cool. One weird thing that has appeared since the end of last episode are those little dots. I'm not quite sure how well you can see them on YouTube. There were like 4 little black dots over there. You can probably see them quite well. At first I thought they were like a glitch, or maybe like my screen was dirty or something, but they are definitely there. I can't seem to get to them because whenever I go like far enough in this direction to get around to them, they kind of disappear. They seem to be like behind this hill. I'm not quite sure what those are. I'm gonna have to try and see if I can get maybe through the hill and towards them at some point. But if you know what those are, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. But what I want to work on in today's episode is I want to work on upgrading our storage system yet again, because although I like the refined relocation storage system we've got over here, it's not really coping all too well with the massive amount of stuff that is coming through from our quarry. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff coming out here. It's actually going fairly fast. One other thing that I did upgrade since the end of last episode, over in the mining dimension, I replaced the basic energy cube with, I think it's a hardened energy cube. Let me see here. No, it's an advanced energy cube. So I replaced that with an advanced energy cube because the basic energy cube was bottlenecking our wind turbines. The wind turbines from Industrial Craft 2 were producing more EU than the basic energy cube could output at any given time. And so I've upgraded it to the advanced energy cube, which can output the same amount as the basic energy cables can transfer, which I think is like 1.2 kilo RF. Let me have a look here real quick. Basic energy cables. 3.2 kilojoules per tick. It changes the unit of measure all the time. I'm not quite sure what it uses to decide what unit of measure to display, but I think it's at about 1.2, 1.3 kilo RF per tick is how much this thing can transfer, and that is also the same amount that the advanced energy cube can output or input at any given time. So now there's no bottleneck there, unless we were to add like just a ton more wind turbines. I think right now our wind turbines are producing about 600-ish. It varies because the amount of EU that they generate depends on like the weather conditions and how windy it is and stuff like that. But on average, they produce probably about between 300 and 700 RF per tick, something like that, I think, if my conversion from EU to RF is right. But anyway, we're getting way off track for today's episode. What I want to work on in today's episode, which you might have seen when I opened up JEI at the start of today's episode, is refined storage, which sounds very similar to refined relocation, but if I type in refined storage correctly, it's a mod that is essentially kind of a replica of Applied Energistics. It works in almost the exact same way. It's a lot similar to the original Applied Energistics, and by that I mean the version before Applied Energistics 2 came around. You'll have played with this if you played modded Minecraft in like 1.6.4 and I think 1.5.1, but don't quote me on that. But it does take a couple of things from Applied Energistics 2 as well and kind of mold them together into the refined storage mod. Applied Energistics is coming to 1.10 as far as I know. They are porting it, and I think they're even moving it to Applied Energistics 3, but it's not finished yet. And so for the time being, most of the packs you'll play will have some kind of Applied Energistics replica in them, such as refined storage, which actually kind of surprised me. It's got a lot of stuff in it that I didn't really expect it to have. For example, the importer and exporter work in almost the exact same way as the import bus and export bus. You've got all the drive cages. It even supports fluids out of the gate, which usually is an add-on called extra cells, and so it can also support fluids as well. It's got the wireless terminal, which they call the wireless grid, all kinds of stuff. But before we get into any of that, before I get carried away with all of the stuff that is in refined storage, we should probably start out with the basics. So, for those who don't know, for those who are new to modern Minecraft, or for those who don't know what Applied Energistics does, essentially, it allows you to store all of your items, and in this case, fluids, on these drives, these storage disks, and then you can view them using the crafting grid in this case. You can actually view all of your items, and so instead of having like a bunch of chests, like right now we've got what, like 7 or 8 chests around our base, instead of having that many chests, we have just a bunch of drives in a drive cage, and then we have one screen that allows us to see and access all of our stuff, which is pretty cool. So, to get started with this, we're going to need a couple of things. We need a controller, we need a disk drive, we need a crafting grid, we need, of course, some storage cells to actually store our stuff, and we're probably also going to need some cables. Now, in order to make any of this stuff, if we look at any of the recipes, we'll start with the controller because this is kind of the core of any refined storage system. To make this, we need 4 quartz-enriched iron, which is made with 3 iron ingots and 1 nether quartz. We also need 3 silicon. There are 2 types of silicon in the pack, one from Ender.io and 1 from refined storage. For the most part, we're going to be using the one from refined storage just because it's quicker, it's easier, and it's more reliable. It is, I think, a little bit more expensive. The one from refined storage is made by smelting nether quartz, and you're going to find a common theme here. There is a lot of nether quartz within this mod. And then the one from Ender.io, you can make in a crusher with sand, which is super cheap, but it would involve us making a crusher, or you can make it in a sag mill by processing clay, redstone, or sand. There is only, I think, a 50% chance. Yeah, it says chance 50%, so it's less likely than if you were to just smelt some nether quartz in a furnace, so that's what we're going to do. It does require a diamond, and then finally, we need a machine casing, which is just 8 quartz-enriched iron. I did have to go and do a little bit more mining between episodes to get the diamonds, because we were all out. I managed to get 4. The reason why I had to go mining is because although our quarry is doing exceptionally well, it's going really fast right now, as you may be able to tell by the massive amounts of coal and apatite that we have, it's not really got down to those lower levels yet. Right now, it's kind of just mining at the higher levels, especially if you come over to here, you'll see we've got a bunch of copper and a bunch of tin, both ores you usually find kind of above Y level 40 or 50, so we haven't quite gotten down there yet to like the lapis, diamonds, emerald, redstone area, but at which point I'm sure we'll get like a ton of diamonds and just like way too much redstone. You can see already it's kind of bleeding over into this chest. There is nowhere for it to put the apatite, and I think some of our coal, has ended up in this chest over here, this being the vanilla Minecraft chest, because it just cannot fit stuff in this chest anymore. So, in order to make the controller, we need all that stuff, and then if we look at some other stuff, like the crafting grid, you'll see that it needs to be made in the solderer. Now, depending on where you are in the world, you might pronounce that differently. I'm going to pronounce that solderer. If you pronounce it solderer, that's fine, but just where I live, they pronounce it solder, or soldering, or solderer, and so if I say soldering, I mean soldering, okay? So we're going to make this as well. This is made in the solderer, which kind of works like the inscriber did from Applied Energistics. To make this, we need 6 of more of this quartz-enriched iron, and then 2 sticky pistons. So, let's go over to here. Let's start making some of this stuff. So we're going to need a bunch of iron, and we're also going to need a bunch of nether quartz. We've only got 29, which might prove a little bit of an issue. You do get 4 every time you do that, and so we could get about 2 stacks worth of this quartz-enriched iron just from the nether quartz that we have alone. But of course, we do want to keep some of it to smelt into silicon for some of the other crafting recipes as well. So, let's go ahead and get ourselves one of these machine casings. As for everything else, that should be fairly easy. Let's go ahead and grab that tin out of there. We'll put 1, 2, 3 nether quartz into that furnace. That's going to go ahead and get us the 3 silicon required for the controller. We do, of course, have the diamond over here. I'm not quite sure if we're going to need more than 4 diamonds in order to set this system up. If we do, I might have to go away and do a little bit more mining, but I don't think we should, although a couple of these advanced processors are required, and they are made, again, in the solderer with a diamond, so I might be wrong about that. We might have to cut away at some point to make some stuff, but for now, we can go ahead and get our controller. Like I said before, this is kind of the core of the system. For now, I'm going to put it somewhat awkwardly, kind of just out here. I'm going to put it like right there. I am going to move this inside at some point. For now, I just want to be able to connect it up to power. Speaking of which, one thing that I did mention earlier in the series is how you can't connect basic universal cables directly to Industrial Craft 2 power producers. So, for example, if I do this, the power doesn't transfer. You can see the cable is not green, nothing is happening, and that is because for some reason, by default, the basic universal cable doesn't pull from these machines, and also the generators from Industrial Craft 2, or really any other mod I think, don't push the power out. And so what you have to do is you have to toggle your configurator by pressing, I think it's shift, and then whatever your item mode switch key is in mechanism. Mine, I believe, is the grave key. If I come on down here, yeah, you want to change your mechanism item mode switch key. For me, it's grave, so if I press shift and grave, it's going to toggle my configurator. I want it set to energy, and now if I shift right click on here, it's going to change it to push, so now it's pushing energy into the low voltage solar array. If I do it again, it's going to pull energy. So now, right now, this thing's not producing any power, which is why this is still offline. But if I was to go and lay down in my bed real quick, that should go ahead and turn green and start to pull the energy out of the low voltage solar array and into that controller. Let's see, yeah, so it's actually going green there. This thing is starting to receive power, and it is going up. For whatever reason, they use their own, like, proprietary unit of power. Right now, it's using 0 RS per tick. I don't know if that's refined storages per tick or whatever it is, but I've no idea what the conversion there is between EU and RS. I've tried a bunch of different power sources. It works pretty much with anything. No matter what power source you pump into this thing, it seems to work just fine. At the top there, it says it's got 20,000 RF in there. And then it says RS in here. I don't think that at the top is right. It says 20,000 RF, whereas in here it says 20,000 RS, unless RS and RS are exactly the same, in which case that might be true. Also, the texture did just change there. I'm not quite sure why. The Sfax patch is still a little bit bugged. They're not quite finished, but let's come back in here, and so now the next thing we need to make is either the disk drive or the crafting grid. We're going to go with the disk drive first, because this is where all of our stuff is going to go, but in order to make this, we do have to start by making ourselves the soldering machine. So, let's come over here. I guess we're going to have to use spruce wood, because we are fresh out of oak wood right now. Let's go ahead and grab some of that. I think the reason why we have so much spruce wood, by the way, is that over in the mining dimension, we put the quarry down among spruce trees, and it's been cutting those down as it mines as well, and then pumping them into the system. So we do have quite a bit of spruce wood, which is quite nice. I do like spruce wood. But we'll grab that. We'll also grab a little bit of redstone as well to go with our iron. And we also need a little bit of cobblestone. We are again running low. I haven't yet gone and grabbed some more of that stuff. But now that we've got that, let's go and make 2 of these pistons. We are going to need some slime. I don't know if we've got any green slime, but I know for a fact that we have some purple. We do have some green slime, but I think we have a lot more. Yeah, we got the 21 congealed purple slime. So I think I might use this instead, just because we've got so much more of it, and in the future there might be recipes that require specifically green slime. I don't think they will be. I think these slime balls will act as a replacement for any slime, but just in case they do, we'll go ahead and use the purple ones for now, and that should be pretty much everything that we need in order to make the soldering station. You'll notice it does say that it needs to be connected to the controller by placing it adjacent to it or by connecting it with cable. These are the cables. They're made with some more quartz enriched iron, some glass, and some redstone, but like it said, we can just go ahead and plonk it down like so. Right now it says that we're using 3 RS per tick, so it's using 3 RS just to have it connected, not even to use it for anything, just to have it connected is using 3 RS per tick. In order to make the disk drive, we need a chest, we need a machine casing, and we need an advanced processor, which is made with a printed advanced processor, a redstone, and a printed silicon. The printed advanced processor is just the 1 diamond, and I'm going to assume that the printed silicon is just 1 silicon through the solderer. Yeah, it is. Okay, so let me go ahead and smelt up another one of those. Let's grab our diamond, and then let's throw that in here, and I want to know if this actually uses more power whilst it's running. So if this is on, no, it still uses 3 RS per tick, which is pretty good. We can speed this up. There are speed cards down here, or speed upgrades, which are again made in the solderer with some sugar, an upgrade module, which is an improved processor, a bunch of stuff. So you can speed this up a little bit later on down the line, but for now, we will just take the 1. What else did we need here? We needed redstone, and then printed silicon. Our silicon should be done. Let's grab you. All we gotta do now is throw that through here. Thankfully, this isn't too slow. It's not the fastest thing in the world. It could definitely do with being a bit faster, but for now, it works out just fine. So we'll put you in, and I think it was some redstone. Yeah, that's going to get us the advanced processor. Whilst we're waiting for that, let's go back into here and craft up the machine casing. I'll just take the one for now because I don't want to waste any more of this quartz enriched iron than we have to. And then finally, we'll grab the chest out of here. And if we head on back over to our solderer, we should be pretty much good to go. So we'll put you in, and you in. Those are going to craft together to get us the disk drive, and at that point, all we need now is the crafting grid, which is going to allow us to view the items that are stored within our disk drive, and also use them to craft certain items. You can see here, we are going to need another one of those advanced processors, as well as a grid, which is made, wow, with 4 quartz-enriched iron, 2 improved processors, 1 more of those machine casings, and then a construction and destruction core. The construction core is a basic processor and some glowstone, and then the destruction core is another basic processor and some nether quartz. As you may have guessed, the other processors are made in almost the exact same way. More printed silicon, more redstone. This time, the improved processor is made with gold, and then the basic one is made with iron. So guys, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go away. I'm going to get all of the processors that we need together in order to make all this stuff, because mostly it's just sitting around in front of the solderer. So I'm going to go away. I'm going to get a couple of each of those, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so a little while later, we should now have all of the processors that we need in order to get a very basic refined storage system up and running. I did go ahead and first of all, let's kill this. Oh, fine, okay. I did go ahead and run some of the mechanism universal cables down around and under the base so that we could go ahead and put the actual system inside. And let's go ahead and quickly just kind of cover this stuff up here. There we go. So it looks a little bit nicer. And that'll get covered up with grass at some point in the future. So in here now, we've got this stuff. I did have to move one of the chests. I moved the chest that was holding non-stackable items, which does break the line up a little bit because stuff is no longer going to go to any of these chests. But the plan is to get rid of all of these pretty much by the end of this episode, if not by the start of next episode. So if we come back over to the crafting table now, we should be able to make ourselves, first of all, I guess, just a basic crafting table like so. Also, let's throw you down, I guess, for now, like right there. That will work fine. Again, it doesn't really matter where you put them as long as they touch the controller in some way, shape, or form. I'm actually fairly certain that we could put the solderer like right there and that would still connect. Yeah, you can see it's still connecting through the disk drive and everything is connected up quite nicely. Thankfully, the disk drive is not using any RS per tick like passively like the solderer is. But if we come back over to our crafting station, we should now be able to go ahead and make ourselves the construction core as well as the destruction core, which is the same but with nether quartz. Once we've got those, we can craft together all that stuff with a basic machine casing in the middle like so to get the normal grid. And then if we craft that together in the solderer over here with the advanced processor and one of the 5 crafting tables that we made, that is going to get us the crafting grid. This one does seem a little bit slower than the rest. I thought they would have all been at the same speed there, but it looks like the higher tier crafting recipes actually take a little bit longer in the solderer. So once we've got that, all we need to actually have a working system is some kind of storage disk. Now we're going to start with the 1K storage disk. This thing is 2 glass, 3 redstone, 1K storage part, which is made with, again, the same kind of stuff, more silicon, more glass, more quartz ingots, and more redstone. I did smelt up some more quartz, so I think I can use normal glass for this. It is showing quite clear glass from Ender.io, but I'm fairly certain that we should be able to substitute that with just plain old vanilla glass. Let's give this a try here. Can we make this? We can. And then can we craft that up into this? We cannot because we are missing some of those quartz enriched ingots. Thankfully, we can make some more fairly easily and get our first 1K storage disk, which we can, of course, go ahead and put into our disk drive right about there. And you can see right now, it's a 0 out of 1,000. And so one key difference here between the drives in Applied Energistics and the drives in refined storage are that they don't have, like, I guess a weird way of storing things. In Applied Energistics, you have bytes, which don't necessarily correlate to 1 byte per item, and then they also have types as well, so you can only have so many different types of items in a drive. For the refined storage drives, these ones here, it seems like it's just this thing can hold 1,000 items. I haven't tested this rigorously, but from what I can tell, basically the 1K version stores 1,000 items. You can craft together 3 of those with some other stuff to get the 4K version, which could hold 4,000 items, and then 16,000 and then 64,000 items after that. So if we were to now quickly grab this guy, and for now I'm going to get rid of the solder because I don't think we're going to use it just yet, but I put this down I guess, you know what, actually, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Because I don't really want that either. Now, let's move this. Oh, I thought I'd lost it then. Let's move this down there. And I also thought I might have lost the disk drive. But we'll put that there, and then we'll put the crafting grid on top of it like so. And now if we open it up, we can see all the items stored within it. Right now, there's nothing there. But also, they don't show up, the drives don't show up in the texture here, which is a little bit weird. But we can now put stuff into the system. And you can see, if we're looking now, 35 out of 1,000. So it just holds a flat 1,000 items. If I was to put all of this stuff in, like so... it will now be at 167. Let's go ahead and, like, empty, I guess, this chest. Actually, I don't really want to empty that chest out. That chest's full of items that don't stack, which are a little awkward for this. Let me go. Ooh, it's gonna be tricky. We are gonna have to get a lot more drives because, like, putting all this coal in here is gonna drastically decrease the amount of storage that we have inside of our system here. But you can see it's storing all of our stuff. And if, for example, now I wanted to get myself, let's say, like a block of coal, I can just go ahead and shift left click on the move items button. It's gonna pull those items directly from the storage into the crafting grid here, and I can craft stuff without any issues. The texture's a little wonky there. There is a little X which will clear those. You can just click them and get rid of them, but there is supposed to be a little X there that clears the grid. The texture's a bit bugged. Also, it doesn't seem to be affected by the weird, like, crafting lag that we were getting inside of the crafting station. Like, if I come over here and I was to do the same thing, actually it's not doing it now, but before we were getting lag in the crafting station. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the crafting grid. We're probably not going to use the crafting station all that more from now on, because we can put all of our stuff into this refined storage system and then just craft with it from in here. Little tweaks I like to make over here. There is a search box mode. I like to have mine on auto select. You can also have it on JEI synchronized or JEI synchronized auto select. Basically, JEI synchronized means that whatever you type in on this top line here, like coal, is also going to get typed in to JEI over here on the right hand side. Pretty useful if you're searching for something in your system and then you don't have it. Like if I typed in energy cube and then I realized I don't have an energy cube, I can just easily grab one. But personally, I like to have mine set to auto select so that I can search for items within a crafting recipe. Like if I did want coal, but it was part of, for example, the basic energy cube, I want to be able to see what I need and then come over here and type in redstone and grab that kind of stuff. So I like mine on normal auto select, but it's really just personal preference. Auto select, by the way, just means that as soon as you open it up, if you start typing, it's going to start typing in here. If you have it set to normal, non-auto select, and I start typing, it's not going to do anything until I click on the crafting grid here. So I like mine on normal auto select. I also like mine set to descending. I like to have the item that I have the most of at the top and then the rest kind of lower down. And so things like the Night Slime Cleaver would end up right down at the bottom. So what I'm going to do now, guys, actually, I'm going to go away. I'm going to try and craft up a couple more of these drives. They are fairly expensive. They're not that expensive. It's just some glass, some redstone, mostly quartz enriched iron, which we're kind of low on. Actually, they're actually super cheap. It's mostly silicon and glass with a little bit of redstone and a little bit of quartz enriched iron. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to head on through to the nether. I'm going to try and mine a bunch of nether quartz. I'm going to come back, smelt all that nether quartz up, or most of it up, into some silicon, try and make as many of these as I can, or at least up to the point where we fill this up, which is 8 drives. We might have to make another disk drive at some point, but I'm going to go away. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and fill this thing up. I'm going to try and get all of my items into the system here, and I'll be back in a second. And a quick stack of nether quartz later, we now have 8 of these 1K storage discs and a little bit more nether quartz to spare. So I've put all of the stuff that we had in all of the refined relocation chests, apart from this one at the end here, into the refined storage system. And I also put all of the ingots that we had in this chest. Of course, it has smelted up a few more since then, but we can now put all that stuff into here. And finally, the last thing that I want to do is automatically get all of the stuff that is coming out of this logistical sorter from this chest here into our system. And the way that we're going to do that is with an interface. So for an interface, we again have to craft it up in the solderer. We need an importer, an exporter, and a basic processor. I've gone ahead and made all the processors already because they are a little bit tedious to make, a little bit repetitive to show on camera. But for this, we need the importer, which is a destruction core, a cable, and an improved processor. We also need the other one, which is the importer, which is basically the exact opposite. It's the construction core with the cable and the improved processor. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves 12 cable. You get 12 at a time with the 6 quartz enriched iron, some glass, and a piece of redstone. And then once we've got 12 of those, we can fairly easily whip up the importer and exporter after we've made ourselves the destruction and construction cores like so. We'll then get ourselves the importer and the exporter, put both those into the system like that, and then we pretty much have to get them back out again because it has to be crafted in the solderer. So let's grab you, and what else did we need here? We also needed, the final processor, that's right. Okay, so let's put in the importer, the exporter, and the processor. Those are all going to craft together to get us the interface, which essentially allows us to pump items into this system. So if you put items into the interface, they will automatically get put into the system here. We are going to have to start looking into some better forms of power, because although this doesn't use much power, up until now it's been at full power, just using the, I think it's like 8 EU per tick that our solar generator is making. As you can see, when the night falls, all of our stuff kind of stops working and we have to sleep, which is a bit of an issue, and so at some point in the near future, we are going to have to look a little bit further forward and start trying to make some renewable energy that we can either store in mass so we can get through every night, or just doesn't rely on a sun, which would work as well. So let's go ahead and grab our interface. I'm going to put this down for here for now. We could put it there and it would connect up, but I kind of want to put down one of these cables because I really like the way they look. And then for this, we could, if we wanted to, just redirect this pipe to the interface. Heck, we could pick the interface up and then just put the interface there. But I kind of want to have a bit of a buffer in this chest, because as you can see, we're almost full on all 8 of these drives, and so we are going to have to look into either upgrading these to 4K, 16K, or 64K drives at some point very soon, or at setting up another one of these disk drives so we can just put in a bunch more of those 1K storage disks. They're really not that hard to make once you've got a good bit of nether quartz. All it is just a bunch of smelting to get a bunch of silicon, but essentially what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the last logistical transposer that we have in the system, which is one of these pipes from Mechanism. I'm going to put it right about there. That doesn't connect up, which is really, really annoying. I really thought that was going to work. Does that not connect at all? Like if I put it there? Wow, that's annoying. Okay, in that case, let me grab my configurator real quick, because the configurator is much, much faster at breaking these things if you put it into wrench mode. We can just grab it like that. In that case, does a hopper work? If we grab a hopper, I don't think we have a chest, do we? No, we don't. Okay, let me get rid of that. Let's quickly grab ourselves a chest and then quickly a hopper. Does a hopper work? I can show you that the system works. So I put in the basic logistical transporter, and that's going to go ahead and end up back in the system. But for some reason, it doesn't want to connect up to those pipes. So I think what we're going to have to do is something like this. Does that work is the question. It does. Okay, beautiful. In that case, let's go ahead. Let's grab that pipe again. Let's put that pipe there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to pick this up. The reason why I want this chest, I think I mentioned it a second ago. I'm forgetting what I've already said. But I kind of want a bit of a buffer between the stuff coming in and the actual system, because like I pointed out a second ago, we are running out of space pretty quickly. Where is that chest? I can see it's there. Okay. Let's get that thing down, like right there. That should hook up just fine, and it does. We can then go ahead and put all that stuff in. Like I said, it's going to start pulling all that stuff out, and then once it fills up, which will be very soon, we've got about 325-ish slots left inside of our system, and so that's going to fill up pretty soon. It's going to fill up definitely before this all gets put in there, because we've got way too much limestone and marble, which at some point, I think we're going to have to start getting rid of, because we've just got far too much. We've already got 900 in the system of the limestone and 300 marble, and we've got even more of it in this chest over here, so I might have to start putting that into a trash can straight out of the Enderlink chest. But with that, guys, I'm going to end this episode of Feed the Beast Infinity for Minecraft 1.10 there. As always, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to like. It really does help out a lot. Next episode, we'll come back. Hopefully, I will have made a second disk drive, or at least try to upgrade some of these to 4K drives, because I do want to be able to put stuff in and out of this system freely. Also, you can see the texture still a little bit bugged. The items are kind of hanging over where they're supposed to be there. I'll try and fix that between episodes as well. But like I said, guys, thanks for watching. As always, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to like. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next time.